It's 1 a.m., and his phone is face down on the nightstand, the way he trained himself to leave it. He's not thinking about her. He's almost asleep. And then the screen lights up underneath the phone, just a thin outline of glow around the edges. And before he even knows whose name it is, his whole body goes still. He picks it up. Her name. Not a paragraph, not an apology, not even a real message, just a story reply. 3 words. And in the 4 seconds it takes him to read it, everything he built over the last 5 months quietly starts to wobble. That's the moment I want to talk about today. Not the breakup, not the silence afterward, the moment she resurfaces. Because almost everything men are told about this moment is either useless or actively dangerous. And there's a specific mistake, a very particular one, that undoes more progress in a single night than almost anything else in the recovery process. I'm going to show you exactly what that mistake is, why your brain is practically engineered to make it, and what a grounded response actually looks like instead. Not coldness, not a power move, something else entirely. But first, if you've ever felt your whole day get hijacked by a single notification from someone who went quiet on you, do this for yourself right now. Comment the words, "not this time," before you finish the video, because saying it now is how you hold yourself to it later. And subscribe if you want more of this, because we're going to keep building this out together. Here's where I want to start, because it changes how you see everything that follows. Your reaction to her sudden contact isn't really about her, it's about unpredictability itself. There's a well-documented pattern in behavioral psychology, the idea that a reward given consistently loses its pull fast, but a reward given unpredictably becomes almost impossible to walk away from. It's the same mechanism that keeps people pulling a slot machine handle long after they've stopped winning. Not because the machine is generous, because it's random. Your brain doesn't crave certainty, it craves the possibility. And that's exactly the shape her contact takes. Weeks of nothing, then suddenly something. No pattern, no warning, no way to predict when it'll happen again. Which means the excitement you feel when she resurfaces isn't proof that she matters more than you thought. It's your nervous system responding to unpredictability the exact same way it would respond to any variable reward. That doesn't make the feeling fake, it makes the feeling misleading, and the two are not the same thing. Here's why that distinction matters so much. If you don't understand where the intensity is coming from, you'll assume the intensity is information. You'll think, this feels enormous, therefore it must mean something enormous. But intensity of feeling and importance of decision are 2 scales entirely, and confusing them is where the trouble starts. So let's name the mistake plainly. It's not reconnecting. It's not answering her. The mistake is responding from inside the spike. Answering while the dopamine is still firing, while your judgment is running on the same circuitry that makes a gambler chase one more pull. You'll recognize it because it moves fast. A single story reply turns into a full conversation within the hour. A one-line text turns into you explaining, defending, softening, apologizing for things you'd already made peace with. You'll notice yourself doing it and not quite be able to stop, because the pull isn't really coming from logic. It's coming from a reward circuit that just got triggered after weeks of nothing. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. The spike doesn't last. It's not a signal of how you'll feel about this in a week. It's closer to a sugar rush, sharp, consuming, and gone faster than you'd expect. Which means every decision made inside that spike is a decision made by a version of you that won't exist in 24 hours. You wouldn't hand your car keys to someone who's had 4 drinks. Don't hand your next relationship decision to a version of yourself running on pure dopamine either. This is where a lot of men, understandably, try to correct for it. They see the danger and swing the other direction entirely, going cold, ignoring her on purpose, timing their replies to seem unbothered. And I need to stop here and say clearly, that's not the answer either. That's still a reaction to her, it's just a slower, colder one. A man calculating how long to respond is still completely occupied by her, just now performing indifference instead of eagerness. Real steadiness doesn't perform anything. It doesn't need an audience. If you're timing your silence for effect, you haven't found your footing, you've just found a new way to lose it. So what does the grounded response actually look like? Let me walk you through Marcus, because I think seeing it play out makes it clearer than describing it in the abstract. Marcus went through a breakup 8 months ago that gutted him, the kind where you're not functioning right for weeks. He did the work, real work. Therapy wasn't part of his process, but structure was. Training, routine, rebuilding friendships he'd let go quiet during the relationship. Then one evening, she liked a photo he'd posted, an old one, from over a year back, buried in his grid. No caption, no message, not even a real message, just a story reply. 3 words. And in the 4 seconds it takes him to read it, everything he built over the last 5 months quietly starts to wobble. He did this differently. He noticed the spike as a spike. He named it internally. This is the slot machine feeling, not information, just chemistry. And he put the phone down. Not to punish her, not to make a point. He genuinely didn't know yet what he wanted to do, and he wasn't going to let a 5-second surge decide it for him. He waited 2 days. Not as strategy, because that's roughly how long it actually took for the noise to settle enough that he could think. And when he finally sat with it clearly, he realized something uncomfortable. Underneath the excitement wasn't a desire for her specifically, as she actually was. It was relief that the ache of being forgotten had lifted for a second. Those are not the same feeling, even though they arrive wearing the same face. Once he saw the difference, the decision got much simpler. He didn't respond to the like at all. Not coldly, just genuinely there was nothing there that required a response, and he no longer needed to manufacture one to prove it to himself. That's the whole shift. Not punishing her, not chasing her, not performing anything for anyone. Just refusing to let a chemical spike make a decision that belongs to his actual judgment. If you're watching this and something in your chest just tightened because this is close to your exact situation right now, drop the word steady below so I know this landed somewhere real. Now, I want to be honest about something because it would be dishonest to pretend every version of this ends the way Marcus's did. Sometimes the honest answer, once the spike settles, isn't nothing. Sometimes there's something real still worth exploring. That's fine. That's allowed. The goal was never to train yourself to reject her on principle. That's just the inverse of collapsing dressed up as discipline. The goal is to make sure whatever you choose, reconnecting or not, comes from the version of you that exists after the noise clears, not the version riding the initial hit. So here's a way to actually tell the difference in the moment. Ask yourself what you'd want to do if this exact message arrived from someone you were mildly interested in, but not emotionally invested in. Would this specific content, stripped of who sent it, actually warrant excitement? Usually the honest answer is no. Usually it's a photo like a story reply, 3 words with no real substance, and the excitement isn't about the message at all. It's about who sent it and how long the silence had stretched beforehand. That gap between what the message actually contains and how intensely you're reacting to it is often the clearest signal you'll get that you're inside the spike rather than responding to something genuinely significant. There's one more layer worth understanding because it changes how you interpret the pattern going forward. If someone repeatedly reaches out in these small, low-effort, unpredictable ways, a like here, a reply there, weeks apart with nothing sustained behind it, that's not random bad luck. That's a shape. Intermittent low-effort contact, whether she's aware of it or not, functions as exactly the kind of unpredictable reward that keeps a reward circuit hooked without ever requiring the effort of an actual relationship. She doesn't need to be doing this deliberately for it to have that effect on you. But recognizing the pattern means you stop treating every fresh spike like brand new information and start seeing it part of a shape you've already seen before. And that's really the whole shift this video is asking you to make. Not colder, not more guarded, just able to tell the difference between a genuine pull towards something good and a chemical echo of unpredictability doing what unpredictability always does. One of those deserves your consideration. The other deserves your awareness and nothing more. So, the next time your phone lights up at an hour like that, and it will, here's what actually changes. You'll feel the exact same spike Marcus felt, the exact same one you've felt before.
That part doesn't go away just because you understand it, but you'll recognize it while it's happening instead of a week later. You'll give yourself the 2 days or the 2 hours or however long it actually takes for your own mind to come back online. And you'll ask the one honest question that most men never get around to asking, whether this is a person you want or a feeling you're relieved to have back for a moment. What would it actually look like the next time it happens if you let the spike pass all the way through before you decided anything at all? If this helped you see that moment a little more clearly, stick around. There's more of this kind of thinking on the channel, built for exactly these situations. And the next time that screen lights up in the dark, let the spike come, let it pass, and choose from whoever's left standing once it does.